things have changed just in the world so much that it's definitely upended publishing. This writing community has always been helpful to me. Growing up in the South, there's a lot of Southern mythology and just storytelling in general that's kind of big.
I absolutely cannot disagree with that.
Books, rhymes, and life.
Hey, what's good, y'all? It's your man, Chad. Welcome back to another episode of Books, Rhymes, and Life. We're on the rhyme side once again. So I just want to bring my crew on. I got my man, Big Absolute, with me. I got my man, Camo Collins, with me. And today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 diss tracks ever. This turned out to be an interesting list. It turned out to be a really interesting list. Diss tracks they're a weird thing. Some of them can be really good. Some of them can be things you never want to hear again. But I think there's a lot of mythology around diss tracks, especially the older ones when they came out. So it's going to be fun cutting through all of that. So that is what we are going to do today. And we are going to hold to the minute and 30 time limit. Because if you go past your minute and 30 time limit, I get to do this. So you will hear that sound if you go past your minute and 30 time limit, and I'm just itching for somebody to do it. And to make it even better, I'm not showing either one of them the clock. I'm the only person who has the clock. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to cheat you. I'm not going to cheat you. That's not what I do.
Stop my time.
I feel like out of everybody, it's gonna be the Spades Legion. What is that? Spades
Legion.
What?
All right, man. So without any further to do, let's get this party started. Everybody got 10 votes, and that was we took the votes by points, and that was how we ended up with it. We got a good list to discuss. Some of these, I think, some of y'all probably haven't ever heard of. Some of them you probably haven't heard in a long time because it's not like exactly like all of these were on featured on albums. A lot of them were snuck into promo mixtapes and other areas. So some of them you had to go find, but we're going to give you the 10 dopest diss tracks ever. So without any further to do, we're going to start with number 10. Common, The Bitch in You. Big Absolute, start us off on this one. What you think about that one at number 10, man?
First of all, I was a fan of this track when it came out. It's one of them punch you in the face surprise tracks because you didn't see it coming, right? Like, Common is like that dude in the lunchroom that's cool, dressed real nice, but you know he really can't fight, or at least you think you can't fight, until you found out he like a second-degree black belt. You know what I'm saying? After he put somebody down. Like, they tried to play my man soft, and they found out that he smacked, right? So probably a lot of the listeners, you never heard this before. You when you look at Common, you still thinking barbershop. You know what I'm saying? You still thinking that dude. Common wasn't always that dude, like he from the shop. Like he still get down a little bit. And he had a problem with West Side Connection. They had a problem with him. They went at him and he did not hesitate to come back. And I think this is one very, very slept on as a song in general. And I think it's even more slept on as a diss track. Like, I don't think people really would ever, had we not be discussing it now, I don't think most people would even know it was even out there. But I challenge you, go listen to it and tell me if it was not that fire. That's what I got, man.
Camo, what you think, man? Common, The Bitch in You.
It was fire. And I'm a big fan of Commons. But I think the reason why I'm okay with this being lower than a lot of the other tracks that beat it out on our list is one, the whole way the beef kind of started and everything. I was kind of like, I don't think he necessarily really took a shot at the West Coast. They seem to be super sensitive for the group of guys that they were. And outnumbered. It basically jumped him verbally. And I didn't particularly like to see Common in that element. Everything he said wasn't true, which is a big deciding factor for me. And when he said lines like you hadn't came out with a hit since such and such, talking to Cube, I'm like, Cube's still coming out with hits to this day. So for me, you lose a lot of points in a battle when you saying things just to attack, when you just throwing darts and they don't. I'm like, nah, them darts ain't hitting, because that's not, I got a couple issues with it. Not taking away from it being a good song and him being a good artist and definitely doing this thing when he's not a so-called battle rapper that has a lot of beefs and stuff like that. So not mad at him or the song, but that's why it ranked a little lower than some of the others.
You know the rules, but he hit it right on. He hit it right on a minute and 30 seconds. So he did. He did his work. He did his work that time. I think he might be. He might be. See, can you see my clock or something?
Well, I got to stop. It's over here now.
He was jacked in.
No. For me, like, this was a great song, but I have a beef with, actually, against the opposite of what you said. I've said this before in the past, and Jay, I think you said it last time, and Brad, Camo, I think that's what you were saying. Common tried to make like this was a misunderstanding.
No, it ain't. It ain't no misunderstanding.
This was not a misunderstanding. So I'm gonna read these lyrics real quick. When on the song "Used to Love Her," he talks. If for those of you don't know what he's talking, he personifies hip hop as a woman, and he talks about her and as through her journey, through hip hop's journey from its beginning to where it is, and he's in love with it. But then he says it gets on some dumb-ish when she comes to the city. He talks about popping Glocks, serving rocks, and hitting switches. Now she's a gangster rolling with gangster bitches, always smoking blunts and getting drunk, telling me sad stories. Now she only F's with the funk, stressing how hardcore and real she is. She was really the realest before she got into showbiz. All right. Look, man, this doesn't have anything to do with the Bitch in You track, but that is not a misunderstanding.
No, yeah, that was direct. Yeah, that's why he said he used to love her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is, like, I know now he said he wouldn't go after a whole coast, and he didn't go after a whole coast, but he went after gangster rap right there.
It was
like that. That was not a misunderstanding. He went after gangster rap. And look, I don't expect somebody who raps like Common to like gangster rap in that sense. I'm not talking about gangster rap as in like the street poets, the guys like Pac and Nas who were like I wasn't doing this, but this is what I was seeing. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the gangster rap that I'm people and that kind of gangster rap. I wouldn't expect Common to like that.
Yeah,
because of the artist Common is, I wouldn't expect him to like that. So, and honestly, I kind of agree with him in that sense. So, I mean, that's just my whole point. Like, he tried to even say it in the Bitch in You. Like, this was not a misunderstanding. Like, he went at gangster rap, and maybe you can say, I can't say the line. I can't say what Dub C said in response to it, but Dub C was just like, "Oh, we got it, and now it's messed up."
Right.
Like I can see both sides of that, but it was not a misunderstanding. Is what I'm saying. I don't think it was a misunderstanding. I think Common knew exactly what he was saying, and I think Cube and them. It may be sensitive. I don't know, but they took offense to it. So.
Common played both sides in that song. The lines about, it's not a direct, not a direct hit, but he basically was like, yeah, I used to love her until all this started happening. Now, I'm not mad that she's out there in the West. Well, just a few lines ago, Here's the problems
was
that you
mad.
had. You were doing both sides. So
No, and I think it's fair that it fell at 10 because of just what Camo said. Like, I feel like the greatest diss tracks are direct. I hate a subliminal song. You got a problem with me, say my name.
double down.
Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. We've seen where saying a name could end outside of rap. You know what I'm saying? It could end off record. But when it's a battle of lyrical will, me
Right.
versus you lyrically, say my name, right? Say,
Yeah.
and that's to me when it landed at 10. The fact that it landed on the list, I'm like, it has to be there because again, it's 1-on-3, but subliminally. Like, I feel like to both of y'all, point is, I feel like he shot at the West, but he didn't really shoot at them directly. I just felt like they wanted to take up the mantle of, I'm gonna wear the cake for the West and gangster rap, and so we gonna shoot back at you. But
And his heart wasn't in it.
no, I mean,
He made that track because he felt like he had to. That's not.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, don't get it twisted. I ain't a punk, and we do this. So, you know, you ain't gonna swing on me, and I'm just gonna knock all three of it. And I'm gonna stand here and take it.
Nope.
You gonna get something back.
so that's what he kept. Man, he got fed up. Like, he got fed up.
Hey, the guy that doesn't want to fight, man, leave him alone.
For sure.
All right, coming in at number 9, the story of I never can say this. The story of Adidon by Pusha T. I'm gonna be honest, real quick. I really like this track, man. I really do. I'll let y'all start it off.
It set a new precedence. Let's be real. When we saw that, it took battles up a notch, and we see the results of it from this last battle that we just all witnessed, right? It was what Pusha T did times 10. Talking about with the personal stuff, like digging up getting a dossier on the guy that you're going against. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've always struggled with this song because I feel like, no, not really trying to advocate violence or whatever. But I feel like there's always a fine line in let's keep it rap, right? And then the type of stuff that'll get you to see me off record. The kind of stuff that I'll fly out, or if you in my city, I'm gonna come see you situation. And like this, I mean, it's one thing to do your research to make sure your lyrics hit because they factual. And I feel like we got a couple factual joints on the list, that we'll get to later. But this, like, to me, when I heard this, the first thing I thought is if I was dude, I gotta see you. Like, I gotta see you like as a man. Like, because there's nothing I could say to you verbally to make this go away. Like, I got to see you. Yeah, man, this crazy. It's crazy.
I don't
This
know if
track
I'd have
is crazy.
if that track was to me, and I probably would have snatched the headphones off and I heard the one line about the sun. That'd have been it for me. Like, I wouldn't even. I'd have needed an address or something.
I'm on my way.
So it was definitely below the belt, yes. But
Yeah, what I said about this one was I don't like that ultra personal stuff when it comes to beef. Like y'all are talking about. Like, I don't like, digging up, oh, you said this back in 2018, or I went through all your tweets and found one thing you said that don't sound right. Like, I don't know that, or, when you were in high school, like Jay-Z putting which one of Mobb Deep in the ballet uniform on up at Summer
Yeah, that's
Jam.
crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
like some of that, like I don't like that kind of stuff because I'm like Jay, keep it on wax. Make it about the crap. Make it about the going back and forth with each other. Don't make it so personal because that is the kind of thing that gets people hurt. and we'll talk about that later on this list.
Man,
That's the kind of thing that gets people hurt. And at the same time, I thought with this track that if you're gonna do that, that this is how you do it.
this is how you do it. Yeah.
Agreed.
Like, so yeah, like I don't like that style when it comes to it. Like I like the two favorite ones of mine that we'll get to later because that's exactly they kept it on wax and that's exactly what I want them to do. But yeah, that's just what I thought about that one.
You got too personal, but if that's what you're going for, then you definitely hit the target.
Right.
Yeah, that
I just thought it changed things from what we've seen with the Drake and Kendrick one that just passed. Like I thought it kind of felt like, to me, like it picked up from the Drake Pusher, which was about the last big deal that we saw, right?
kind of like the blueprint of how
And it
this
felt
track
like,
should be,
yeah,
or at least how they become. But as we start to see them unfold now, yeah.
All right, coming in at number 7 and a tie for number 7, Back Down, 50 Cent. That's what. Hey, I will start this just by saying I will let y'all talk about the track. But if I were going to beef with anybody, 50 Cent is one of the last people that I'd want to beef with. And the number one thing I'm afraid of is not his rhymes. I'm not saying that he can't rap because 50 is a good rapper, but I'm not afraid. 50 is funny.
he is.
50 is funny and he will destroy you in all his interviews. And anybody listening to this, if you don't know who Ja Rule is, if you're under the age of 35 and you don't know who Ja Rule is, this is why.
50 is like if a rapper was brought up, got his chops on a show like Kill Tony. Like, he just don't stop. He's relentless. He just keeps on and keeps on. It could be over with, and it is. Like nobody, just like you said, nobody's checking for John. 50 still takes opportunities to take shots at nail in the coffin after nail after nail. He'll keep on going. It don't matter. He was relentless with Puff Daddy. He just sold a documentary to Netflix. So man, he don't stop. So you definitely, I think that's definitely one of the ones at the top of the list of people you don't want to beef with, for sure.
Yeah, for me, the track itself is okay. Like it's a cool track and it's a great diss record. But it's a great diss record because of who made the song. Like both of y'all said, like he could have just really got on there and been like ball, the dang, chop. You know what I'm saying? And you'd have been like, that's crazy, you know? Because you knew this song was like the interlude to the rest of Ja Rule's life. Because every time 50 got bored, he was just going, not touching you, not touching you, not touching you. Like he was, and that's what made the song so great because you knew, you expected it to be more. I actually applaud Ja because I know, you know, he did his little rebuttal, but like he didn't keep it up because sometimes you just you take the L and you charge it to the game. Like you just be like, go ahead, dude. Like go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro. Like that's 50.
50 and M was Ja. And then they had everybody else, Obi, and I mean, just it was too much. There's no way he could have combated that.
Overkill.
You got to throw the flag in.
Yeah, when you mention somebody's daughter, especially somebody who didn't even have wasn't even in the beef at that moment, like you get what you get then.
Yeah, I didn't
Like,
have
'cause
it.
he could have snuck out of that beef
Easy.
at
Easy.
that point. Just let it die, let it go. He could have snuck out of it, but then he wanted to go with Eminem, and
Why? It's like you needed a deer, right? You got hit by a truck and you're not dead, but you're just hoping, right? And life will never be the same again. Can someone please just go on and do the humane thing And so since nobody would do it, he just was like, well, you know what, truck owner? How about this? And,
Well,
and him was like,
You say you
well,
say
you know
that
exactly why. You remember in high school when you getting dug on and you don't have any rebut, you can't get anything in, everybody's laughing, and so you look at somebody else that you know you can take, and you go, "What you laughing at?" You trying to deflect, and it backfired on him. It was like, no, he can actually out rap 50. So that was, I
yeah,
don't know
that was
who gave
dumb.
him that
That was dumb.
nerve sending in on that play. Come on, coach.
who gave you that advice? All right, number 7. The other tie for number 7, Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar.
Ooh,
Big
I'll start.
absolute. What?
Yeah. Ooh, I'll start. Um, the best the best diss track get a certain reaction from fans, right? Like you be like, oh, what you gonna say? Whatever, whatever. This was not that. This was people calling, checking on this man's family and his mental health, right? Like he did this boy bad. And I mean relentlessly bad. But like Camo said, the blueprint was set, by Pusha previously, ironically enough, right? And it's like, he didn't double that. This man he got 2 cards and said all in on the first hand of a poker match. Hey, I'm all in. And went legitimately all in on that dude. The only thing about this track that I hate is the beat because they play it every 5 seconds. And I can't, in my head, dun, 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 like I just can't, you can't get it out your head now. Like, I don't want a diss track to be a catchy tune that I'm dancing to, right? I want to feel the other person's pain, but I also want to feel the aggression in the diss track. Like I want to be angry for somebody.
It's war.
Yeah.
You don't dance on the battlefield. We don't dance no more.
That was a DJ Mustard beat, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He does have one of the funnier beat stamps. What I liked about this song in particular was it felt like the crowning moment in a cool cultural moment. Like I got a little worried about it there towards the end of it because I think somebody got shot. And then I was like, all right, that's enough, y'all. Y'all, let's chill. Like we just 25 years ago we did this. I know this generation doesn't remember that, but we did this 25 years ago and we're not trying to do that again.
We still
That's
trying to get over it.
yeah,
Right.
like we still like our generation still hasn't gotten over that. So, we definitely don't want to see that again, but it was such a cool moment in culture because for like 3 weeks everybody was like Twitter was just going crazy, social media was going, everybody was just who's coming next? Who's coming next? So, who's coming back? And it was just such a cool moment in culture that they just kind of took over and everybody forgot about other stuff for a while and it gave you something to kind of focus on. And it's really cool when hip hop does that. So I did appreciate that part of it. But like I said, I think I'm glad it stopped, I guess, quote unquote, stopped when it did, because it was at the point where it needed to stop. Like, because these things can only go on so far because people are going to get more and more personal, especially when you started this personal. Like things are just going to get more and more personal, and you're eventually going to say something that, like Absolute said, like Camo said, you're eventually going to say something that somebody's going to want to come see you about. Like eventually they're going to be like, okay, this isn't fun
This
anymore.
ain't it.
We're not.
Yeah.
This isn't business. This isn't fun. This ain't it. We can't do this. So I'm glad it kind of stopped. I guess, quote unquote, stopped when it did. But it was a cool moment for the culture there for a while.
Yeah, I like the fact that when's the last time you seen people pick sides? Like
Yeah.
these dudes fans were legitimately going back and forth like they was related.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And not
saying?
just
Like
the fan. Industry. When's any time you seen the industry that
Yeah.
weren't directly in the beef pick sides?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it wasn't
That's
a
true.
coastal thing. It was like wait a minute now, this is my friend. Don't talk bad about this is my friend. Like, yeah, people got in their feelings for real about this one. This was crazy.
I think for the cultural aspect of it, of course, you got to give kudos for that. You know what I mean? That aside, the beat we discussed that. It's not really, when you compare that to these other, even Commons, like these are war ready beats. These are, you know what time it is when the beat comes on, and then the lyrics and the tone and stuff match it. So that threw me off to start with. And that was wasn't that like the third or fourth one? Cause he hit him back to back, and I didn't think any of those beats. By that time, I was just going, none of these are battle beats. So I was a little frustrated at that part of it. And something about, I know I'm gonna probably take some heat for this, but something about Kendrick's flow and voice and stuff too. Even his tonality and stuff didn't seem like this was a battle. I mean, did he have lines in there that were scathing? I'm not saying he wasn't throwing some heat rocks at him, but of all the diss tracks I've ever heard, other than probably Nick Cannon's, I was going, is this a diss track though? I mean, I see it did get personal. Like I say, it felt like it took picked up from where the Pusha T Drake beat left off, but I don't know. It just seemed kind of off to me. They overplayed. There you go. And I feel about that. I'm done.
Should have hit him Kemo with the battle rap joint. Stop my time. Stop my time.
I don't get to do it very often, but I appreciate it when I do. Let's go to number 6. Number 6 is a very popular one. It's a very popular one, without a doubt. Number 6, Ether by Nas.
What's wrong, Absolute?
Y'all know what's wrong. Both of y'all know what's wrong. Y'all know what's wrong, man. Y'all know what it is. First of all, is it deserving to be on the list? Absolutely. See. There are only 2 songs in 3 in rap beef history that start off anywhere close to how this song started off. You knew from stanza 1, when they hit play on the beat, you knew exactly what this was finna be. There was no getting around it. There was no subliminals to it. There was no guesswork. You knew not only this was going to be a problem, and who he had a problem with immediately, right? This had all the aggression. The beat was ridiculous. The bars were ridiculous. The scheme was ridiculous. And not to mention, there was no guesswork about who he was talking. This definitely should have been higher on our list. I know we won't get into individual lists and where we rated such things, but I defend that this definitely should have made top 3 for sure. It shouldn't have been sitting down at 6 like it had no relatives. That's all I'm gonna say. That's how I feel about the panel, ladies and gentlemen. That's how I feel about the panel right there. Yeah.
Camo, you go ahead, man. I'll finish this one off.
All right. You ready? Look. Look, he did his thing. At the time that it came out, the climate and everything that went on it, I don't want to get hit with the horn again, but he did his thing. But I don't personally, to me, it's not as hard as some of the other ones. Like the other ones, it's hard, but some of the ones above it's like hard. And I'll admittedly say maybe it didn't reach as high as it would have if it wouldn't. It's got the same thing that the Kendrick Lamar had is it got played out, and every time in any discussion, Ether and Takeover is like two of the first things I always hear. So I tend to a lot of times not go with the obvious votes and maybe champion the unsung heroes like some of the other ones that's on this list that I never hear people talk about, like it don't even exist. So that's, I'm not mad at the song. He did his thing, but that's why I helped contribute to a lower ranking, I guess.
I did the same thing, man, because I mean, I agree with everything that both of y'all just said. So I want to say that from the beginning, I agree with what both of y'all just said. I think I put it this way, man. If my girlfriend says I'm going to take you to a restaurant and I'm going to have Gordon Ramsay cook for you for your birthday, and then I go to the restaurant and Gordon Ramsay makes me fish sticks and macaroni and cheese, it's probably going to be the best fish sticks and macaroni and cheese I've ever had.
That's what we doing.
But Gordon Ramsay could have done a little bit better than fish sticks and macaroni and cheese.
That's what we doing. That's what we doing.
I'm going to bring up two lines. One, with whiskers like a rat compared to beans, you whack.
Not accurate, sir.
First of all, definitely accurate. Secondly, everybody knew Jay's mustache didn't come in for forever.
I'm not talking about that part.
No. Even if both things are true, that's playing the dozens in junior high, man. That is not one of the lyricists. And then doing the name flips with the slurs, that is about as low hanging of fruit as it gets. That fruit was so low hanging for a guy like Nas to use. I just expected it to go deeper than it did. When Nas was going to do a diss track, I thought, all right, I'm going to hear a diss track like I've never heard before. And while stylistically he was different, and look, you saw where I ranked it. I put it on this list. So I'm not trying to insult it. All right. Maybe all right. I'm not trying to insult it. Apparently it sounds like I am.
I'm gonna let Kemo go off, man, but I'm gonna come back to you and you just lock that in, and I'm gonna hit you with one analogy, then we can move on after Kemo says this.
I was just gonna say I don't have as big a problem as he did. I don't have much of a critique on it. I just didn't think it stacked up to some of the other ones above it. I'm not mad at it. But now that he brought that line up, I think it's crazy to say that. And I like Beanie Siegel, but ain't no way Beanie Siegel makes Jay-Z look whack. That's just a line. That's just a line.
All right, absolute. It is on you, sir.
I give both of y'all that, right? But let's go back to Chad's analogy about Gordon Ramsay, right? This is what I say about the ether. This is what I compare it to.
That was a good analogy.
It was, and I compare that to a Mike Tyson fight, an early Mike Tyson fight. You knew, you didn't go to watch Mike Tyson go 10 rounds. You didn't even go to watch him have the shoulder roll or no fancy punches, right? In 91 seconds, when it was over, you might have been mad you paid $70 for it, but you went to watch it get over quick, right? There was no bells and whistles. It wasn't pretty. And arguably, it might not have been the most lyrical thing. And maybe we hold it against Nas because we expect him to be lyrical. But a diss track is to the point, right? A diss track, the good ones are to the point. They're predominantly factual. even if there's some fluff and some filler. I give you all that. There was some fluff and some filler there, right? I mean, I've argued for years that if Beans had better production on some of his songs, they may have been presented to the world a little differently with his lyrical ability, right? But soon as the beat hit, that was an overhead right. That wasn't no, let me throw my jab out there and fill it out. That was and Jay was covering up for the rest of the fight from the beat intro. That's all I'm saying about that. That's all I'm saying. Thick.
And he got that, ducked the horn.
Oh yeah, I
I
got so
seen him
scared
ready.
of the
He
horn.
ready. Yeah, I know his finger
I
was
seen him
working.
load up. I seen him load up.
Hey, that thing was twitching right there on that button. He was like, hold
Y'all
on.
don't know. Y'all don't know how hard it is to wait to a minute and a half.
He ain't
I
listening to
seen
me.
it.
We say he's locked in on that button right there. He's like, all right, 150.
Come on, if you look at his left, if his left shoulder tense up, that's when you know he right there. It's on that left shoulder.
I see the football players read my body language.
Oh,
All right, now to number 5, dollars and cents. DJ Quick.
Hey man, let me start this one off. That was number 1. I've always said, and there's been a lot of diss tracks that maybe wasn't but a handful before that one came out. But ever since that one came out, I thought that one got, and he didn't have to dig up a whole lot of stuff. He was doing that, but it wasn't like get a whole team of people and who knows him and all. It was like they knew each other. Here's some stuff that everybody that runs our circles knows, and I'm going to put that on blast. And he got more disrespectful than any diss track I'd ever heard. I know for a fact that was worse than when they called Drake's son out. And I know we all know when you bring family into it, but when he said Chad, you want to do the lyrics to that one?
Hold on, let me bring it up.
One
He
part
said,
that
yeah, he
the
said,
IHT.
DJ Quick.
you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
To me, there's never been a more just to me, this is my personal opinion, there's never been a more personal diss track that I was just going, bruh. And he's still alive.
And this
Mhm.
was in 1997, 96.
96, 97.
Yeah,
When them boys
so
ain't hard, like that wasn't no.
That's Cali beef right there. That's
I
a
mean-
whole different situation.
it wasn't like I guess I'm going against myself when I say this, but what I said earlier, because it was more like Quick just wanted to fight MCA. That was really what that whole song was. I just want to fight you, and that's what that was. That's what that felt like. But I will say, I do have to do a line that I actually can do. That is one of the best lines that I ever heard in a battle rap. Name flip. He said, EIHT. Now should I continue? Yeah, you left out the G because the G ain't in you.
And there was a lot of clever lines. Like I thought it was super clever. And I'll go against myself too to say that this is the only one of my normal diss tracks. When I was talking about the war ready beats and the hard dark ones and all, this one didn't. But surprisingly, I loved it. I was like, I'm here for it. Like I thought it was clever at the time. Like I'm a huge DJ fan, and the production and all. I think he killed it, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean,
what you think, man?
It's definitely what you said. Like I've always thought that. Like the line about when he was talking about the car pulled up on him. Like this is a song that we could have just fought. The other night when I seen you at the club, we could have just went out back and fought, but you didn't want to fight. So I went to the studio instead because I had to get it out. Right. So since we wasn't gonna fight, I gotta let this happen. And the reason why this one was so killer, it's one thing to pull up facts that we all can Google and fact check. I go back to Ether on a similar thing. The thing that made Dollars and Cents so critically like a kill for me was everybody in Compton on both sides knew exactly what y'all was talking about. So this wasn't just crew for crew. This is skate rink. This is Slauson. This is like people just hanging out. Was like, oh, because it happened right up there off of such and such. Like he was saying things that happened on a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't holding back about nothing. That's why I said it was one of them tracks like we could have just fought, bro. If you'd have just gone and came on, we could have gotten in. I'd have got it off my chest. We might have had I think you started my time early. I think you started my time. After this is over, I'm gonna have to go in the booth and make me $1.06.
I guess this will be the last episode of Books, Rhymes, and Life on the Rhyme Side, y'all. I do apologize for that. I knew I was gonna get out of hand. I am messy and out
Man.
of control. Now to number 4. The number 4 is gonna be a tough one for me to do. This is really gonna be a tough. Number 4 is a classic, and y'all better know this one. Hit 'em up. Tupac Shakur. Hit 'em up. Absolute, you want to go on that one?
Remember when I spoke on the Ether and I said there was 3 songs that you knew when it came on? There was no faking the funk. There was no hiding. There was no, I wonder who he talking about. No. Because if you think how the Ether came on was disrespectful, is there truly another intro more disrespectful than Hit 'em Up?
I was about to say that for intros. Yeah,
I mean, we're not talking about some girl we both know. I'm not even talking about your sis. Like, really, the only thing he could have said worse than that would have ended up with your mom versus what he actually said, right? Because to me, that's the only other level he could have went. Not, hey, dog, you know me. Like, he didn't even talk through it. It just, that's why,
I don't even think the mom would have been as bad, because you can't do that with my mom.
Right.
So
like, he went.
that wouldn't have been quite as insulting as the fact that this is something you potentially could have and have been rumored to have done.
And I know on most people's list, this is one, right? You could Google 2, 3, 4, 5 top diss tracks or whatever, and this is usually 1 or 2 on most of them, and rightfully so, right? I mean, we're very critical of a lot of things, and we have a lot of hip hop between the 3 of us. And if this would have ended up number 1 on this list, I know nobody on this panel would have been like, no, that should be like down there. We'd have been like, that makes sense, right? that makes sense. How do I put it in words? The fact that this track ended in violence makes sense. That's all I'm gonna say. I wish it didn't. I wish they would have kept it rap for both coasts and all the surrounding individuals that got sucked into this for absolutely positively no reason at all. But when you get to it, I told you, we talked, earlier about Pusha T's track. When you get to a certain level of disrespect, I got to see you now. Now, I understand it wasn't the actual artist he was having issues with that had to see him, and other people got involved, and that's the tragic part of it. But this is one that if you didn't know anything about it, and you go, hey, this song came out, and then there's a bunch of shooting in the club, you'd have been like, I get it. Yeah, somebody had to fight. Like, I get it. Like, this was crazy. But still one of my favorite diss tracks of all time. Still one of my.
Yeah, I think for me, 2 things about this one, and one I'm not gonna harp on. The song wasn't that good. I
You mean the production or like?
I mean the production. I mean, it was disjointed. Like Tupac's verse and the passion that Tupac had it, and then Tupac's ad libs at the end when he's just talking. Like, that's what made the song, and how he started it. Definitely, that is what made the song to me. Like, it's just not that well put together of a song, I guess. Like, it doesn't mesh. The other artists that are on there with him don't quite match. They don't match his intensity at all. Which, I mean, I'm not blaming anybody for for not matching Tupac's intensity, but I mean it's a definite drop off. And I don't know. Anyway, the song felt disjointed, but here's the you alluded to this, Jay, and here's what really gets it from me. I think this is when this beef went off the rail.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish this track weren't on this list because I wish it didn't exist.
Mhm.
Because I honestly think this is when this beef just went completely off the rails. And I don't know. I'm sure there were other influences in it, like Tupac's life and what a lot of different things were going on. That's another show, another documentary, another series altogether to itself. But I feel like this was the thing that started it down the road that ended up with two people dead. And I kind of wish this song didn't exist for that reason. Like, is it an iconic song? I'm not taking that away from it. It's just one of those things like that line DMX had, my mother, my father, I love him, I hate him. I wish to God I didn't have him, but I'm glad that he made him. That's the feeling I have about this track. Like, I just felt like this track is the one that sent this thing down that bad road. And I kind of wish it didn't exist. It did exist for that reason. I wish somebody would have talked Pac out of going this hard on this. Because he went about as hard as you could possibly go at somebody.
I definitely feel like it was the moment that Puffy put the. It's definitely what got the phone call. I mean, I'm convinced. I chuckled with it because Puffy's in a lot. Puffy's in a lot of stuff right now, and I don't know what's going on. We all at mercy of what's going on the internet and stuff like this. I don't know, but I'm like you. I think it definitely was the for us in high school, man. It was like, oh, that's it. Like but as an adult, I have to kind of agree with what you're saying. You know what I mean? And we definitely all still want those dudes to be here. So, but for just dissecting the track, just like what we said about Pusha T, you went too far, but if that's what you were aiming for, you definitely hit the mark.
Man.
Right.
For the I agree with you that it felt disjointed. I think the reason the track felt like that was because it felt like Pac's reaction a lot of times, not just with this situation, was that he was unfiltered. He didn't sit back and reflect and think about that. It was like, oh, this is what it is. Bam. He took their beat and said this and done that, and bam, that's what it is. Oh, y'all want to do this? This is how it is. And because of that, that's probably why it don't feel well constructed, and it's a little bit over here and that, and not. But because I think it was a true reaction of what he felt at that time, and he, everybody that's a Pac fan knows this. He didn't spend a lot of time in the studio and mixing and relaying vocals and all these. Just like, that was the feeling that I had. I got it out. Let's move on to the next. And that's why I think the track comes across like that. But for diss tracks, it's disrespectful. So for that reason, it definitely had to go on the list.
That's fair. That is fair. I mean, and it has to go on the list for like I said earlier, and like we talked about, a lot of these tracks were huge moments in the culture.
Yeah.
And like has there been a bigger moment in hip hop as far or in rap? Has there been a bigger moment than that beef? Because that beef
No,
lasted for a while.
and
I
it
don't think
changed.
so because of how it ended
changed
too.
the course. Yeah, and it changed the course of how music got made. Like it for at least 8 years, it divided a culture for how album sales were done, how concerts were done, who was booking who, who, even label mates, right? Like, you had label mates on both coasts that was nervous to do things together because of the backlash of the beat, right?
Yeah, if y'all have never seen Method Man talk about going to record, he didn't record with Tupac, but if you ever get to hear him tell the story of going to Vegas to record for that song that he did on All Eyes on Me, uh, listen to that story because that recording and then the night of that recording when they went to hang out, like he's got a really I'll try to try to put a link in the comments, but he had a really interesting story about how he met Pac and when he met Suge and
That-
yeah, that's another show altogether. Let me go to diss track and it's in a tie, another tie for number 2. No Vaseline, Ice Cube. Camo, why don't you go ahead on this one?
Yeah, I'll be short on this one. Again, maybe not the most popular opinion, but I thought that Hit 'Em Up and Dollars and Cents would be above this one. I know it's number one for a lot of folks.
Ah,
Really? You've been waiting to use that one.
No, I love this track.
No, and I
Go ahead.
love Ice Cube and I love that track. I just for me it wasn't as hard hitting as the last two on the list to me. It's hard hitting. I'm not taking nothing from it, but just to me, um as big of an Ice Cube fan as I am, I just didn't think it had the same impact for me personally. So that's all I got to say. I'm not gonna bash it. I just
Yeah, no, I understand that. For me, Absolute, I'll let you go last on this one because I know that's your coast. For me, I am a huge Cube fan, so I'm gonna be biased on this anyway. That's where the boo came from. Even if you would have said I think he's great, but you would have got a boo.
oh, I'm
No, I'll agree with you that like lyricism, the lyricism isn't there for this one, but this one was another personal one too. I I like this one again for how huge of the moment in culture it was. Like it was a West Coast culture, and at that time East Coast didn't really care about the West Coast, but it was definitely this huge thing on the West Coast when they split up and Ice Cube left. And I guess I put more into it than just judging the track itself because I'm thinking about the moment in culture and then I'm thinking about what this represented for Cube because Cube became that rapper who did it his way.
right.
Like Cube went out and
Yeah.
did all his own stuff. Yeah, even when he went into his movie production, all of that, he did his own thing. And this
Yeah.
was the beginning of that. But this squashed all of that. Like they didn't really have anything else to really say to him
That's
after
true.
this track.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
that's a good thing for a diss track. If you hit somebody and they're like, you know what, probably ain't any real good reason to go back at him.
It shut him
Probably let that
down.
go.
It
Do I
shut him down.
really want? Do I really want to do this?
I will say in the history of diss songs, I meant to say this, it's definitely the best title of any diss song ever. No diss song has the same title. Like you ain't got to turn the song on really.
Right, right.
It's already like and we talked about the intros of the other songs. Before you even turn the song on, you just see the track and you going, oh,
Yo, like for me, I mentioned there were 3 songs, right? This is number 3. How this song comes on immediately lets you know it's a problem. We not gonna tiptoe into the problem. We not gonna build up to the problem. I'm happy it's a beef because I got a few things I get off my chest. For me, this is my this this is one of my favorite songs in general, diss track or not. I think it deserves to be top 3, top 2 on anybody's list because unlike most of the other tracks we've talked about, this is, we seen Common go back at a crew, right? And the beef just kind of died. That crew went on and had great success, and Common went on and had great success, right? But let's define a moment. What he did after this song, the balance of power between NWA and where Ice Cube's life and career went after that was a whole different thing. Now, I'm not talking about individual members of NWA because Dr. Dre has had phenomenal success as Dr. Dre. He is Dre. But the group was over. Like, I don't care what, like, it was over. And to me, the greatest part about this diss track was getting to see it play out in the movie Straight Outta Compton. To get to see the reaction of the other members the first time they heard it. Because there's always that one dude in your crew that be like, yo, you heard this? And he's supposed to be your boy, but he lets you hear it just to see your reaction. And if you watch the movie, DJ Yella would have got beat up back in the day because he was actually grooving to the song. It's like, wait a minute, he talked about you too. Not as much as y'all, though. He talked about y'all way more than me. Right.
Yeah, he only mentioned him once.
So, yeah, this song, man, this song to me had it all. It was probably one of the first tracks I felt like that didn't even really need to be lyrical. It did. It was just that to the point. It was personal, right? And we've heard personal songs before that went too personal or was too corny with being personal because they was emotional. This one was just personal. Like he said. So I'm glad y'all said it all, right? So now can't nobody blame me for what I'm about to do to you because you started it. You started it. I was chilling. This is what you want. I'm gonna give it all to you. You want that smoke? I'm gonna give you every bit of it. So yeah, no Vaseline at 3 is that shot.
Just like starting off like, hey, remember you asked for this, okay?
Yes.
Now to the final two, and these final two are connected because this was the best battle ever, and that is what makes this whole thing so phenomenal. This beef started with a track called 4321. Cannabis asked about a tattoo that LL had. And he said, hey, I was thinking about getting something like that. I'm summarizing this, but this is from what all the reports are. He said, hey, I'm thinking about getting something like that. Is it cool with you? And I'm not sure what LL's reply was, but they all laid down their tracks. And then when the song came out, Cannabis noticed that the track that LL had on the song when it was released was not the same track that was on when they recorded in the studio that day. So Cannabis had a response, and his response was our number 2 song, Second Round KO by Can I Bust. Absolute, what did you think about this one?
Had it been at anybody else, this would have been a one and done. This song was masterful. This was a masterful song. Put it in whatever category you want to put it into. This was a masterful lyrical delivery of everything that you hit in the spectrum of what you want in good hip hop. This dude, he was a young gunner. He was fresh on the label. He was that young pit bull in the yard. Let me get out there and show y'all I can squabble a little bit, you know. And he just
Hold on.
happened.
He had the best rollout that I'd ever seen a rapper get at that time.
Yeah.
Because he was just on feature after feature after feature, and
they
he destroyed them.
And
every one of them. Like a robot.
He was.
It was almost inhuman. Everything he dropped was like, is this dude real? Like, this has got to be some kind of, group of mastermind lyricists get together. Is this one person that writes this by himself? A human, not an alien, not a computer. This is how hard this dude was going. And that's why that track hit so hard, I believe.
And to be honest, I thought people wrote for this dude, man. Like, and I say that with a chuckle, but no one should have that many ready, that fast, that young. You know what I'm saying? Like every feature, that quick, that fast, that young. I don't remember anybody who had that much firepower at such a young, when I say a young age, but young age in music, young age in hip hop, as far as how long he had been known and out. But
We
like I
never
said,
seen that before in hip hop.
Second Round Knockout, it's number 2 for a reason, right? And we'll get to number 1. But if number 1 didn't exist, it's clearly number 1. Like no, there's no argument to it. It is clearly number 1.
It's number 1 and number 2, and then a big gap, and then number 3.
Right. When this track came out, because it was released before the number 1, what took the number 1 spot. But when this track came out, did we not all agree? Like, we heard your jaw drops and you go, there's been some good diss tracks. And I told you Dollars and Cents is my most, and we like this one and that one. But when that one came out, it was like, nobody's never dissed that hard. That's hard. Nobody's not done. Oh, that's it.
And
Yeah.
Absolute, you were a big LL fan, and what were you even thinking when you heard this one?
I was like, wow. Like I was like, because I mean, you know, we've heard all of the sub beefs of Cool J's career, right? And legitimately, outside of the original beef with him and Mo D, you just didn't think anybody could force him to a different lyrical level to combat something like Second Round Knockout. Like at his stage of his career, and this dude still had all of this career to have, you're like, this can't survive an ongoing beat. Like this can't be a 3-songer or 4-songer situation, because this dude has years and time to get better, right? And I wasn't sure L could weather that storm like he did, but
Well, let me also add this to it. I don't know if you guys thought the same way, but I didn't like the move from the story we were hearing. If that's what happened, it made me want to side with Cannabis, as big of a LL fan
yeah,
as I was. I was going, hold
yeah,
on, man. You mean this dude looked up to you, obviously, and asked you something respectful? He could have just went and got whatever he wanted to. He was trying to be respectful and come to you as a legend, somebody he looked up to. And you did him dirty. You acted like you was cool with the question, and then went and changed your verse last minute and didn't give him a chance to do nothing about it publicly. You destroyed that man's career, basically. Not basically, that's exactly what he did.
yeah.
So as hard as Cannabis was going, and that he was in the underdog mode, I was going, oh man, this is it. I get him. And he enlisted Mike Tyson. That was probably why Clef probably hooked him up with that. But you know what I mean? That was the way they did that and everything. It was like, because obviously, if you look at Cannabis and LL, you going, you ain't whooping LL.
Right. Like they're not really gonna fight, but no,
So
and
that's the most
oh,
obvious thing. I thought it was perfect that they put Mike, they paired him with Mike. It's like, we know what the elephant in the room is, but look who he's training with.
right. I felt like Cannabis. I felt like what made that song hit as hard as it hit. It's kind of like what Kemo said. Like we all felt like, is LL being petty? Like, are you jealous of the young gunner? Like, are you feeling some type of way? Is that what got the verse change? Right?
Exactly.
But here's what's funny. I know thousands of people thought that. Not what I thought. What I thought was, I thought what a true battle rapper thinks. I think I don't really care. I just needed an excuse to cut the head off. Like I just needed a reason to remind everybody. And Chad, you and I have talked about this because, like you said openly, I'm a huge LL fan. We've talked about this on every album LL ever did. You could talk about all the songs towards women. You can talk about the radio tracks. There's always one song where he reminds everyone, I'm that dude. I'm still that dude. I'm going to be that dude, period. Because he came from that. He never stopped being that dude, right? No matter his success level, he's never stopped being the dude to remind you, I'm the, right? He coined the phrase GOAT. He made a song called GOAT. We weren't saying GOAT until LL made the track GOAT. Like he coined the phrase. So he couldn't just let that go. Was it a little petty? Probably. Did he make more out of it than it probably was? Definitely. But I'm not mad at all.
I wouldn't call it petty. I thought it was a sucker punch. Yeah, it was just a sucker punch. Because he's changed his verse and got the first shot off before Cannabis knew it. I mean, look, there are no rules in fighting. I get it. There are no rules in fighting. I thought that was a little bit. Well, I mean, like you say, I mean, it's something I wouldn't do. So that's about as far as I could take it. It's something I wouldn't do, but that's what LL did, and LL's undefeated. So now that we got that out of the way, we can go to the number one diss track of all time. LL Cool J, The Ripper Strikes Back, or Can I Bust?
He named the song. He named the song.
What? I think Camo said something on one of the shows that we did earlier or something kind of like this. What was so crazy about this is the song that we just talked about before it. Like, we heard that song and we were all like, I don't know, man. I don't know what you're going to be able to do with this.
Yeah.
Like he just dissected your life. He just broke you down because the studio audience to applaud, and I read your book and all of that. And I was like, the 99% of your fans wear high heels.
Brilliant.
Like every line. And that's the problem, is that LL took every one of those lines that I just named, and he took all of the best lines that Cannabis had in second round KO and flipped them. He wasn't going to have to do it against Ice-T. I'm not insulting Ice-T. I like Ice-T's music. Ice-T was not a lyricist, though, and I don't think he would ever argue that.
Right.
Yeah, it was either that or lose your crown. Lose the crown that you had for a long time at that point.
Yeah, take it to the tattoo spot.
Decade.
Yeah, take it to the tattoo spot and pay for it to get put on it.
Use your tattoo guy.
He wants the microphone.
That would have been his crown. That would have been LL's crown. Like at that point, the way Cannabis had come up, which I think, like Jay said, was why LL did it. Like, let me take this dude on. Like Camo, you said last week, if a 15-year-old came out, that LL would go at him. Like, I think that's what LL, even at his age now, like I really do think that's what LL would do. Like, he was like, all right, y'all say this kid is the next dude, the next one, he's the one. All right, let's go. Yeah, maybe if I let this kid get 2, 3, 4 albums into his career before I come at him, he might be even harder to control at that point. Like, you might be right. I also feel certain that Wyclef Jean helped destroy Cannabis's career a little bit. I think he did kind of say he'd fight Mike Tyson. He didn't care.
Called him earbiter.
No, and he poked at Jay-Z several times since then. Okay,
and I'm glad you brought that up, because this is what I want to say. Because that's a great segue into the mentality of Ladies Love Cool J. Cannabis was that dude. And y'all keep saying it was a sucker punch or whatever, but I'm going to go with an analogy we're all familiar with. I'm going to go with a football analogy. That wasn't a sucker punch. That was a crackback. The Cannabis was on an island, but his head wasn't on the swivel. He was on the island, head wasn't on the swivel. So it happened. Cannabis did his thing. Camo said the word of the day. If we could get, in the graphics, I would like them to put up the word of the day. The word of the day, children, is rebuttal. The word of the day is rebuttal. It takes master classes to rebuttal. Anybody can respond. Response means you heard something, you processed it, and then you just said what you had to say about it. Ladies Love Cool James rebutted the arguably the best diss song ever at that time. Rebutted it. Not just shot for shot, verse for verse, line for line, shot for shot, scheme for scheme, flip for flip, rebuttal. And battled 3 people at the same time. He took everybody out at one time, like Kemo said, Wyclef, Mike Tyson, whatever. But to let you know how devastating this diss track is LL Cool J lives rent-free in Canibus's head for the rest of his natural born life. Can I Bust echoes in that man's mind so much that he couldn't even return home to battle rap where he started. Right? He couldn't return.
That's kind of sad.
Back. Yeah, he couldn't, because it's, to me, Canibus is a Vietnam vet at this point. He's shell shocked. Like, so when battle comes up, he got PTSD. Like, you don't know what to do when the beef is on because you got bombarded. You've seen real life combat, lyrically, of course, but you wasn't prepared for that. And I don't think the world was either. You thought it's like being in a boxing ring and letting a dude have your best combo. It reminds me of that Martin episode when he fought Tommy Hearns. When he finally gave a couple to Tommy and he turned around and started celebrating, and Tommy Hearns was right behind him and hit him with that uppercut. That's what this was like. Like you thought you knocked dude out, but you just knocked out his mouthpiece. He got that standard 8 cap.
Yeah. It was that's an episode to itself to talk about Canibus's career, to be honest, from that hot start to that first album, and then everything after that. Like he needs his own he needs a documentary on back when they had VH1.
Behind the music.
Behind the music. He needs a behind the music. Canibus needs a behind the music. I'm sorry, because it started off like he could have been, could have worn the crown for a little while. Next thing you know, next thing you know, he's on a game show with Byron Allen or Carmen Electra.
We finna see Canibus on Dancing with the Stars because it's a rap. It's a rap. Yo, I know Deborah Lee, if you watch it. I know you don't own BET no more, but I know you know the people. If anybody need an unsung, Canibus might need an unsung, because we might need to really understand what happened afterward.
All right, y'all. That's been a list, man. That has been a fun list to talk through. Go back and listen to all of those tracks now that we all talked about them, because that's a lot of fun. There's some good stuff in there, some sad stuff in there, but those were all pretty big moments in culture too. So I think that usually ties into it. When somebody has a beef or a diss track that really stands out, it becomes a moment in culture. Everybody's got to stop, point at the person you're talking to, and laugh at them because they just got crushed. But that'll do it for this episode of Books, Rhymes, and Life, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button and do all that good stuff, because that really helps the show out. So we will see you next time. Be good, y'all.
Books, Rhymes, and Life.